Routine. We're having a little experiment with our lighting setup, trying something new.
I know. It looks really nice, Norm.
Let us know in the comment section below what you think of it, whether you like it or should we go back to the old way. It's a single softbox lighting us with a background very similar to what we used to have. So, 6 big purchases retirees regret.
Wow. That's a big topic, eh, Norm?
It really is. So the first one, expensive cars.
Wow. And that is something that so many people go out and buy, especially if they've just got an inheritance or a lot of money that they can just draw from their savings.
A lot of people think that they've won the lottery retiring, and so let's go get an expensive car. Big downside to an expensive car is they're expensive to maintain. We know somebody who has a Range Rover, and that, well, the front windshield had to be replaced.
At quite a lot of money, wasn't it?
Huge amount of expense.
Yes.
The oil changes on them are an absolute fortune.
Yeah. They sort of make Norm go, oh my God, like that.
So if you're in that car dealership and you're all hot and horny to get that new car, just try this trick. Go home for 2 or 3 days just to have a cooling off period. The car will still be there.
Yeah, and just because they say those prices, Norm, are going to be gone by the end of the day, that's not true, is it? They'll still be there a week later. But give yourself 2 to 3 days to think, do we really need it?
And I'm an ex-car salesman. That was my first job in Canada.
I know, so you should know better than them all.
I've got
tricks.
all the inside
you've got all the
knowledge. So how about number 2, Teen? What do retirees tend to regret?
That has to be a bigger house. And I don't know what it is that all of a sudden you retire and your house isn't big enough for everybody to come over for parties and pool parties and drinks. Oh no, we need a bigger one.
But what's the most terrifying thing in retirement? It's having a mortgage and having to make regular payments.
Yeah, no kidding. And at the moment, with the fluctuating interest rates, Norm, that moves into that area of unknown, doesn't it?
And bigger houses, like expensive cars, cost more to run. They're more expenses. Your insurance premiums are going to be higher. Your property tax is going to be higher. And to be honest with you, the maintenance costs are as well. So bigger house, retirees regret buying those. Mm-hmm. Also travel, expensive vacations. And this really is one that we fall into, I guess.
I guess I was going to say that's really close to our hearts with this one, Norm.
It very much is.
And something we slightly fell into, I guess. Hey?
So the whole idea about expensive vacations, it's if you're going to have one vacation a year and you want to blow 20 grand, 30 grand on it, by all means do that. But retirees regret spending that level on 4 or 5 vacations a year.
I think, because the thing is that because we are retired now, you have all this time. You can go on train trips, you can go on cruises, you can go wherever you want, stay in fancy hotels, but you can't spend at that same level as one big trip, can you, Norm?
Just because you've got time on your hands,
No.
you know, you don't want your boredom to be costing you 100 grand a year in travel expenses.
No.
So what we tend to do is we'll splash out and have an expensive vacation, and then we'll tailor our budget and have some budget ones as well. So we're able to keep to our travel budget in the year, and we do set a travel budget.
Yeah.
We've said in the past that while we have good health and we're ready to roll, we are spending $25,000 a year in travel, but that's on several vacations.
Yeah. And because we had a couple of years where we didn't really spend any, we sort of have that little bit of extra, don't we?
We have a buffer.
Yeah, a little buffer.
Gifting team.
Oh, this one you have to be so careful about, giving expensive gifts.
And before we get into that, I got my AC/DC.
It's very nice, Norm.
Been to Giant Tiger again.
And from what I hear, one of our viewers has said there's been a new shipment in.
Well, what the hell are we doing here?
I don't know. We're filming. We should be right down at Giant Tiger.
Getting the new haul. So gifting, Tina.
Yeah.
Expensive gifts to family.
You can be, just don't think that spending like 500 or 1,000, writing that check for birthdays or Christmas, it's okay to do it once in a while, but if you do it regularly, it can really start to drain on your expenses, can't it?
It really can. And the other thing is that your family members might become reliant on it, might expect that you're going to be giving them these gifts. It's okay to give a graduation gift or Christmas, whatever you spend your money on to your grandchildren and children, but it's not sustainable in the long run because all that you're doing is spending your retirement lump sum, what you're going to need to live on in many years to come.
So you really do have to try and find a way of connecting with fellow family members that's not going to cost you quite as much money.
No, there are lots of different ways that you can do it, but just be mindful that don't set a precedence where you feel as though you're going to have to give large gifts for people in your family to like you, because it just doesn't work that way.
No.
Giving regular capital to family.
Yeah, that's another big one, isn't it? Because particularly, say, if people get tax refunds and things like that, they suddenly think, oh, we've got a lot of money, we don't need it now, let's give it to this member to help out, or this family member to help out. But what happens is they kind of get to think, oh, well, if we've just had this, perhaps we'll get another one and another one. And they become reliant on that extra support of the extra money that you actually might need it later in your life.
Very much so.
Isn't it?
And bailing grown-up children out of their financial problems, at some point that has to stop, because once again, you're just giving your future retirement away. And we all have, even though we've all come to terms with it, we still have that nagging feeling, will our money last us to the end?
Yeah, that's a big fear of everybody, isn't it, Norm?
It really is.
Will the money run out?
And giving regular large capital amounts to your family is a surefire way to make that come true. So just be careful on giving capital away. So another biggie that retirees regret buying is
a vacation home.
Very much so.
And I think this might be virtually the biggest one on the list, Norm.
I think so. You go down south and you have a great vacation, maybe a snowbird, you see a condo, you see timeshares, and then you go buy one.
Yeah.
And that's where the trouble starts.
Yeah, you get used to all these like margaritas, don't you, Norm?
Oh, yeah.
Being on the
Fruity
beach,
drinks.
just thinking life's wonderful. You don't realize about the heat and stuff like that. But the thing is, when you're on vacation like that, it is very different to when you are suddenly living there for a certain amount of months a year, isn't it?
And if you're in a hot, humid climate like Florida, then you're going to have to be running that air conditioning an awful lot to stop mold happening. And now you have two houses that you're running. So you've got double the expenses, but you're only staying there half the time. So most retirees that buy a vacation property end up regretting it because of the additional expenses of electricity, utilities, and maintenance that goes along with it, and maybe a loan that you've taken out to buy it,
That's very true. I guess a lot of people just don't realize that you might only be there, say, a third of the year or something. So let's say you're there even, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, but you're still having to fund your primary residence. And when you're not there and you're back home, you're still having to pay for this vacation place, even though you're not there.
And you know what would happen to me, Teen?
Yeah.
I'd get bored.
Oh, you definitely would, Norm.
Oh, going to the same place and having to, because you've paid all this amount. I much prefer the buffet of travel. A little bit here, a little bit there.
And I, you know what, Norm? I know what people are going to be saying, but Tina and Norm have a trailer. And yes,
I forgot about that.
We do have a trailer, but we would like you to know that our trailer costs this much. Absolutely
minuscule.
Yeah, it's tiny compared to what a vacation home is. Yeah. And it is nice to have somewhere to go. But you know what, Norm? Since we bought it, we don't use it as much as we probably should.
No. So those are 6 big purchases that retirees regret. What have you regretted buying? Why don't you leave those comments below in the comments section, and we can all learn from everybody's mistakes.
And if you've enjoyed watching this video, there's another one that you would probably like. So we will leave a link to it down here.
We will. So
you can enjoy some more of our chats.
So we hope that everybody is keeping well.
And staying safe.
And until the next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.